Rajagastotra Sati Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagastotra Sati Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Srila Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachara Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Principal Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shakti Radha Radha Shri Dev Madhura Ki Jai. Radha Radha Ki Jai. Advaita Maya Prabhu Ki Jai. Purushottam Shri Jagannath Ki Jai. Radha Maya Ki Jai. Sudha Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Shivamani Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Prabhupada Francis Bhupendra Prasad Distribution Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Das Yushvat Ki Jai. The effects day of Bhagavatam Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glory to the Supreme Lord. All glory to the Supreme Lord. All glory to the Supreme Lord. All glory to Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. All right, so we'll sing from the prayer to the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga and his associate from Prarthana, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Daya Koramore. Many of you know that song. And the songs of the Vaishnava Acharya, the books, if you have, we had like 10 books here, now there's only one. No, it's all gone. They probably went walkabout, yeah. Anyway, let's sing this nice song by Srila Narottama Das Thakur. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kara More Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kara More Toma vina ke dayalu Jagat sansare Toma bina ke dayalu jagat sansare patita pavana hetu tava avatara patita pavana hetu tava avatara hetu mosamma patita Prabhu napaibe ara mosamma patita Prabhu napaibe ara ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi ha Prabhu Nityananda Kripa balokana kara ami bada dukhi Kripa balokana kara ami bada dukhi daya kara sitapati Advaita Gosai daya kara sitapati Advaita Gosai Thakur Sitapati Tava kripa bale pai Chaitanya Nitai Tava kripa bale pai Chaitanya Nitai Aha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Aha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Bhatta Yuga Sri Jiva Prabhu Lokanath Bhatta Yuga Sri Jiva Prabhu Lokanath Daya Kora Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Daya Kara Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama das Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama das Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Narottama Das Thakur Narottama Das Thakur Narottama Das Thakur Narottama Das Gaura Premanandi Srila Narottama Das Thakur Ki Jai. I wasn't sure whether my singing was bad or you all just can't follow or the rhythm was too much. So I was just hoping to finish quickly. So I'll just read the translation and then since today is Narottama Das Thakur's appearance day, we'll speak about Narottama Das Thakur. Okay, translation. My dear Lord Chaitanya, please be merciful to me, because who can be more merciful than your Lordship within these three worlds? Your incarnation is just to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls. But I assure you that you will not find a greater fallen soul than me. Therefore, my claim is first. My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you always appear very happy, I have come to you because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, then I may also become happy. My dear Advaita Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be merciful to me. If you are kind to me, naturally Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda will also be kind to me. O Swarup Damodar, personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya. O 6 Goswamis, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Sri Jiva Goswami. O Lokanath Goswami, my beloved spiritual master, I pray for your mercy also. O Srinivas Acharya, successor to the 6 Goswamis, please be merciful to me. Narottama Das always desires the company of Ramachandra Chakravarti. Srila Narottama Das Thakur ki jai. Okay, so I have this book written by Mother Sitala, the wife of Harishwari Prabhu. She's done a research on Narottama Das Thakur, and she's written a very nice book. So, what I will do, I will read from the some of it, not all of it, some aspects of it, and then we can try and appreciate Srila Narottama Das Thakur like that. Prior to the birth of Narottama Das Thakur, Mahaprabhu was on a Sankirtan, and whilst close to the village Sri Keturi, he suddenly stopped the kirtan and started to cry, go out and exhibit ecstatic symptoms. But he was crying, and in crying he was calling out the name of Narottama. So he kept saying Narottama, Narottama, Narottama like that. And then he just stopped and looked at Nityananda. All the other devotees were like bewildered. No? Like, why is he crying out like that? Yeah, it was very intent, very fervent like that. But they could see he was overwhelmed with ecstatic love, and so he shouted for Narottama, and then he collapsed, rolled on the ground, and shouted again, Narottama, 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 like that. So all the devotees were just looking, they didn't know what to do, you know. Just like in the early days when Srila Prabhupada was exhibiting his symptoms of ecstasy, devotees didn't know what to do. But later on, Srila Prabhupada told them, just chant Hare Krishna and everything will be okay. So in the same way, they were all glancing at each other, not showing what to do. And then when Nityananda got close to the Lord just cried and said, Nitai, you know, I don't know what's going to happen when I leave this world, when you leave this world. The Sankirtan movement is my life and soul. And if I leave, who's going to continue? Who will spread this chanting? What will happen, right, to this wonderful Sankirtan movement? So he says to Nityananda that I want to empower someone specifically to carry out this role, this wonderful Sankirtan. He says, I have so much of this wealth of love of Godhead, but I will be leaving and I want to invest in someone. But who's qualified? that I can invest this. Of course, the Lord knows, but he's in his pastime, and so he's asking. And Nityananda says, only you can answer that question. Who else but you? And then he says, yes, I know who is capable. His name is Narottama, but he's not born yet. So this was a few years before Narottama was supposed to take birth. So from the village of Sri Keturi, close by, there's another, on the other side of, Keturi is where he took birth. So the river Padmavati is there. So he says, I will invest my potency in that river. I will keep this love of God in the river, and when Narottama takes bath, then he will be empowered, invested with the potency. So this is what happens. So the day after this incident, Mahaprabhu goes into the Padmavati river, and then the whole river just bubbles and so on like that. And then he infuses the love of God in there, Of course, the Lord can do it in many ways, but he wanted to do this particular way, this pastime, like that. So as he walked into the river, the water jumped up and started to swirl and dance and gurgle like that. So basically the river was experiencing the love of Godhead, the ecstasy. River Padmavati, she's experiencing the God. And she came out and then she prayed to the Lord and said, how can I serve you? Then he said, I want to leave my transcendental property in your care. Please take my love. Keep it with you until a devotee named Narottama bathes here. She said, how would I know who's this Narottama? It says, he's a young, dark complexioned boy who will be filled with love for God. And as soon as he enters, your water will surge and flood him like that. And she says, if he is already in love of Godhead, what is the point of him getting some more like that? Then the Lord said, don't worry, this person is special, he can sustain so much more than you can understand. And so then she disappears like that. Of course, the boy, Narottama Das Thakur, when he takes birth, he is a lifelong brahmachari. He never gets married, and he is the son of King Krishna Nanda Datta, and the wife is Narayani. Okay. They already had some boys, another boy, but this was the younger boy. Narottama Das is the younger boy. So today is Purnima, so he takes birth, and this is known as Krishna. This is what Rasa Yatra is it? Krishna Madhura, right? Yeah, Krishna Madhura. So today also Krishna has his Rasa dance. Spring. There's another one, spring, Yeah. He has a lot of dances, so not this one. Yeah, the Vasant one is different than this one. Yeah. So anyway, it's a day after. I believe it's yearly, right? Day after Lord Nityananda's appearance day. Maybe sometimes it may be a day, 2 days, but generally it's a day after, like that. Yeah. Right. So sometimes some acharyas say Narottama Das is also a potency of Lord Nityananda. Okay, so and therefore he's able to hold the love of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very powerful. So this is Sukla Panchami. He took birth today. It's the month of Magha, like that. Yeah. And so his father, the king, gave so much charity. When the child is born, they give lavishly, they invite the brahmanas, they feed them. Nowadays they don't do such thing. This culture is no more. Nowadays when the child is born, they hide them, you don't see them at all, It's true, no? Right? They're afraid, they'll get the evil eye. They're afraid they'll get coronavirus. And then they have all kinds of rules. You cannot go out from the house for 30 days, 15 days, whatever days they want, But, Kalo Shudra Sambhave, we should try to get as much mercy from the Vaishnavas and call them, invite them, and show them to get the blessings so that the child can be part of the Sankirtan movement. Maybe they don't want the child to be part of the Sankirtan movement. Maybe they want both, right? But you can't have the cake and eat it too. Yeah. So anyway, the boy grows up, and before that they had called in all the astrologers, brahmanas, and then they did some readings, and when the astrologer looked at it, he said, "This is a very special son, very exalted." The boy also was, when he was born, he was so beautiful, very beautiful. It's called lakshanas, like an opulence. So he had very nice long ears, Sometimes we think long ears are not so nice, so we go and do surgery and then pin it and all kinds of things. And then beautiful nose, nice broad forehead. He had long hands and legs like that, long fingers. So many beautiful, wonderful qualities were seen in the body of the child. The symptoms indicated that he was a Maha Bhagavata, best of the human beings, like that. So then the astrologer said he should be called Narottama, the best of the humans, like that. Anyway, the boy grew up and they found that he was very intelligent. Not just intelligent, he was what we say, Shrutidar, means he hears once and he remembers. So it would be nice, we can dream about it, but we have to read 10 times and still we get 1/10, we'll be lucky, But he was like that, so qualified. It was said that Narottama Das Thakur was a genius. He could understand, not just remember, he could understand. Sometimes you have people who can memorize so nicely, but they don't really understand, or they don't have sufficient realization also. But he wasn't like that. He was exceptional. He could understand, he could give his realization, and it made sense. But his birth is very special also. Before he was born, both the parents experienced spiritual or transcendental experiences. They found that someone, transcendental, golden personality entered their bodies. The king's body, and then after that entered the mother's, Narayani's body. And then they both had the same dream, and they say, I had this dream, and then the wife said, I too had this dream. So they could understand this was not ordinary. The boy wasn't ordinary. And so when the brahmanas, when they saw all these auspicious signs of the child in the birth, and they told them to give the name Narottama, out of affection, the parents, it's always like that. Out of love and affection, the parents forget that the child is extraordinary. It's not meant for their own enjoyment. It's very difficult. When you get very close to your child and baby, it's very hard to see them any other way. Just like when Krishna kills the demons, and then the little boys, they come. Remember the pastime, Damodar pastime, when he takes the mortar and goes through the twin Arjuna tree, and then all the boys came and say, no, he pulled the mortar between the trees, and these two effulgent persons came out, Then all the cowherd men look at the little kids and say, oh, yeah, okay, You don't know what you guys are talking about. We don't believe you. That's it. It was like that. Yeah? So, very extraordinary, but the parents cannot see that. All parents cannot see that. Whether the child is good or bad, the parents cannot see that. All parents only see the goodness in the heart. In their hearts they see. And therefore it's very hard for ordinary people, what to speak of Krishnananda, the king and his wife. Okay? So then later on, as the boy was becoming able to understand this wonderful knowledge from the scripture, a Brahmana, they say it's a Brahmana, but actually the personality, a very, very exalted person in our lineage, Krishnadas Kaviraj, used to visit. And he would tell the boy the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he would say from the Adi Leela all the way to Antya Leela. So the boy would be fascinated, and he would sit and listen to these wonderful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he would go all the way till night, and he'll be listening. And then the father would watch and think, something is wrong with my son. He's getting too interested in these spiritual topics. And then he'll tell them, boy, time to go to bed, your mama is waiting for you. The boy said, it's already late. Yeah, it's late, you have to go. That's the only way he could get his son away from the Brahmana. Of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj is so exalted. Right? It is said that when Krishnadas Kaviraj used to speak, even the stones would melt. That's how potent he was. So much ecstasy and so much love that he imbibed in whatever he was describing, that the stones would melt. What to speak of us, right? If we were to hear Krishnadas Kaviraj speak, our hearts, stone hearts will also melt. So what to speak of Narottama Thakur, the little boy who was so pure, who already had the love of God. So the more he heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, he could not envisage thinking that he had to go through life and become a king like his father. Right? Jnana Vairagya automatically is bestowed on one who practices devotional service. So as soon as he heard more and more, the detachment from material things manifested in his heart. And he started contemplating how to run away from home. I want to go to where my lords are. Then when he found that the lords were gone, but his exalted devotees, the 6 Goswamis, they were in Vrindavan, he was thinking, I want to run to Vrindavan. Let me run away. So much detachment manifested, this vairagya. When we practice devotional service properly, it should manifest. It must take precedence over other aspects of our material life. It must come about. If it doesn't, then the practice is lacking. It is. This is a given. It's a statement. It's a given. Jnana vairagya. Both will manifest. You will have the knowledge, you will drive away the ignorance, and you will become detached from material things, and your desire to do service will increase. Right? So like that, the boy became ever so eager, always looking out of his window, thinking how I can run away from home. So one time he was looking out and he saw this river, Padmavati, from his place. And he told his father, I want to go to the river. It seems so inviting. Obviously the Lord is making him want to go to the river. But his father says, no, you don't need to go there. You can just stay and play here. So one time he told his father, I'm going, Pita, I'm going to see the big river with my friends. What? You come back into the palace right now, his father ordered. Rushing outside, he swept Narottama up in his arms and hugged him tightly to his chest. Naru, you know, you don't have to leave the palace for anything. Whatever you want, we will bring you here. Because part of the astrology was, they said that if he will become a great devotee, and so they were trying to, the inevitable, they didn't want that to happen. So whatever you want, whose pastime is like this, very similar? Who? Raghunath Das, not really. He was also a king, prince. Siddhartha. Who? Lord Buddha, yeah, same thing, They also didn't want him to see the 4 things that was going on, birth, death, old age and disease, like that. So, but then the Lord from his heart is wanting him to go to river Padmavati and get the blessings. But the parents are like, no, you can't. Yeah. So his father tells him, no, you don't need to go to that. What I'll do is, we have a big garden outside. We'll dig a pond and you can play in the pond. It's as good as the river. Yeah, like that. Yeah, they say it like that, yeah. Like that, right? So it seems that they forbid Narottama ever from going to the river, and they've made this clear to all the servants and the soldiers, like that. But daily, because he's hearing this wonderful talk from Krishnadas Kaviraj, the intensity is too much, So then he starts asking, Like, for example, he heard about Raghunath Das Goswami and he never ate anything opulent. So when his father asked him to eat sweet rice, he said, why should I eat like that? Raghunath Das Goswami didn't eat, he begged, So he said, shouldn't we go and beg also? And then his mother says, no, why are you talking? We don't need to be like a sadhu. So his father wants to overcome that and tells him, oh, you're such a good listener, You've listened to the story very, very nicely. And so in any case, the boy is thinking, why are we living in a home, Why shouldn't we be like the 6 Goswamis? So he keeps asking, why don't we leave, Why should we stay here? Why shouldn't we run away like Raghunath Das to Vrindavan? So this started to make Krishnananda very, very uncomfortable, right? Like many parents will be very uncomfortable if their child, 10-year-old child, says they want to move into the temple in the Hare Krishna Dham, Don't worry, we won't ask them to move in. So anyone who wants to move in must at least finish their high school and college. Yeah, otherwise don't bother coming here. Yeah, we don't want to take the burden of later on they will say, oh, I gave my life to the temple, I've got nothing. Yeah, we've heard all this before and we don't need to hear them anymore. So as we understand, he grows up, becomes an expert in Sanskrit, expert in the grammar and everything. But he was always humble, very humble personality. So with the blessings of Krishnadas Kaviraj, he became more and more attached to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So one day Krishnadas Kaviraj talked even about Lokanath Goswami. And Lokanath Goswami is a personification of renunciation. So when he heard about Lokanath Das Goswami, he wanted to actually started crying when he heard about him. Because naturally he developed so much affection for Lokanath Goswami that he wanted, in his heart he felt this person is such an amazing person like that. So anyway, when he grew a little bit older, the parents one day wanted to go somewhere, and then he thought, this is my break, So, and he was, and all this time it is said that he has these voices in his head. Jai Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. So Narottama Das Thakur is listening to all these voices in his mind. So nowadays if you hear voices, you will have to go to psychiatric help or something, right? Unless it's Krishna conscious, you need to go. Okay? If one or many of you have voices like that, if it's not Krishna conscious, you need help. If it's okay, so according to Krishna Kripa in Texas, if they say, if you hear divine voices, they'll put you in the psychiatric ward. But if you say something nonsense, they will say, okay, they'll promote you or something in society. Or they still lock you up. Okay. So he can't sleep because every time he tries to sleep, he hears these things about him, Mahaprabhu saying, I want you in Vrindavan, come, things like that. And he couldn't understand what is this happening. And so when his parents once, they wanted to go somewhere, no. He actually slept, and then Nityananda Prabhu appeared in his dream. The Lord's face was more beautiful than millions of moons. And then Nityananda told him, go at once to the Padmavati river to bathe. Padmavati Devi has been keeping a gift for you, and she will deliver it when you come. She has been waiting for you. And the Lord disappeared. Then he woke up. He's thinking, what is this? But he's experiencing ecstasy, right? Anyone, if you have dreams of Nityananda or it's Mahaprabhu or even the deities, you must feel some ecstasy, right? So he's trying to think how to get out of the palace. So he jumps through the high wall. He stacks all the furniture, and then jumps through, and then he goes slowly to the Padmavati river. And along the way, he is chanting the holy names. So let me read the description. Narottam rushed toward the Padmavati river, softly chanting the holy name all the way. When he reached the bank, he bowed down in the moist earth and then stepped into the shallows, calling out the name of Gauranga. The cool, dark water swirled around his legs and immediately began to rise higher and higher. Within moments, the river's waves surged over the banks and onto the land. Narottam suddenly saw the goddess Padmavati Devi standing before him. Shocked, he stared at her with wide eyes. Padmavati Devi smiled warmly at him. "Before you were born," she said, "Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left his divine love in my care and instructed me to give it to a boy named Narottama, whose touch would make my waters rise in the same way they did when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came here. Clearly, you are the rightful recipient of this most extraordinary gift. I have been waiting for a long time for your visit. Now please take this topmost treasure." Saying this, Padmavati moved towards Narottam with outstretched hands, holding what appeared to be a radiant golden lotus flower. Amazing, no? Without warning, the goddess Padmavati disappeared, and Narottam was astonished to see the golden lotus transform into a luminous golden-colored boy. This exquisite form, which was none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, danced towards him and entered his body. Oh my God! How can anyone handle that, right? Narottam felt Mahaprabhu's essence engulf him. Powerless in the grip of the Lord's ecstasy, he shouted, "Gauranga! Gauranga!" As the Lord's love infused his every limb, Narottam's swarthy complexion lightened, transforming his skin into a beautiful golden color. He was darkish in complexion, but with the infusing of Mahaprabhu's ecstasy, he turned into golden color. His skin also slackened and he shivered and trembled uncontrollably. The current of divine love that coursed through his body was so intense that Narottam couldn't contain his emotions. Staggering out of the water, he laughed, cried, sang and danced furiously on the banks of the Padmavati, lost in the ecstasy of love and oblivious to everything around him. Narottam was abruptly brought back to external consciousness when he heard his father's frantic shout. "Naru, Naru, where are you? Look, there's someone over there." It doesn't look like Narottam. "Oh my dear Lord, what has happened to my son?" You know why they couldn't recognize? Yeah, different complexion. Totally. Squinting in the pre-dawn darkness, Narottam saw a large crowd of people rushing toward him with torches. To his surprise, he heard his mother's hysterical voice. "It is Naru. Can't you recognize your own son? Look, he's wearing Naru's ornaments." Narayani ran to where Narottam stood and kissed his face again and again. "Naru, Naru," she cried, "why did you sneak off like this? Why didn't you tell us where you were going? We were so frightened when we found your room empty. We searched everywhere for you. I was frantic." Taking Narottam's face in her hand, she looked at him in bewilderment. "What has happened to you? Why do you look so strange? What happened to your skin?" Her voice shook. "Are you all right?" I'm fine." He's in ecstasy. It's very hard to speak. Huh? So much emotion. Sometimes when you're emotional, you can't speak, you know. So he can't compose himself. So the thoughts of Lord Mahaprabhu keeps coming in waves and surges in his heart. So much so, he pulls away from his mother and starts shouting, Gauranga, Gauranga. Obviously, people may think he is gone. Yeah, crazy, gone mad like that. The father was thinking, what's wrong with him? He's behaving in a bizarre manner. It seems that he is possessed by a ghost, by a Brahma Rakshasa. That must be it. Let's get him home, call the Brahmanas, let's do some exorcism, Right? People will do anything to get their child back to normal. So when Narottama was seeing people are getting more and more anxiety, he tried to calm himself, but the Lord in his heart is in ecstasy. How can he calm himself? So he starts to trash. It's just cannot be controlled. Just like when Mahaprabhu was chanting the holy name, he had to go and use the bathroom. So when he tried to control from chanting, he couldn't stop chanting the Maha Mantra. So he held his hand on the tongue. And then when he came out, he spoke to Gopal, the boy. And he says, how can I stop? I'm doing an unclean activity, so I'm chanting. So Gopal told him, no, the holy name is so pure, it doesn't matter where you are. You can chant any place, anytime, any place. Then Mahaprabhu said, oh, you're my guru. From today, you're Gopal Guru. So you can see, the ecstasy, the emotions is so like a tsunami hitting Narottama Das Thakur. How can you stand tsunami? No? The waves are so powerful, they'll wash you over. So this thing was going on until they brought an exorcist. Did you all ever see the movie Exorcist, 1975, I think? Yeah, that was a horrible thing. I didn't go either. I remember during that time, ambulances would come in the theaters. People would collapse, throw up, because it was so horrible. So anyway, the exorcist here, he comes, and then he chants mantras. So that's the difference, The biblical exorcists, they read from the scripture, so it's their mantra. But in the same way, the Vedic exorcists, they chant from the Vedas. And he was waving the peacock feathers in front of the boy's face. So maybe we should do with some of our guests sometimes. Oh, Krishna Kripa wants it done for him. We'll ask his dear wife to do that. Narottama, however, continued to flail his arms and legs. He can't handle himself. And mumbling incoherently about a golden boy. Finally, the exorcist turned to Krishnananda and said, don't worry, it's not a ghost in your son's body. What do you mean? The king was asking. Just look at him, he must be possessed. So the exorcist said, no, he's simply suffering from an imbalance of air. So generally, if you have like a mental breakdown, it's called a vata imbalance, So if you find yourself too much in anxiety and so on, it's because the prana is disturbed, and therefore your mind is disturbed. Prana. Right, the nadis are disturbed like that. So he says, I suggest you rub jackal oil on his stomach to cure him. No, this exorcist is saying jackal oil because he's a tantric. Yeah, so they use all kinds of, they apply mode of ignorance also in trying to get people cured. So, but anyway, the ecstasy in Narottama subsides, and then he eventually stops thrashing, in the bed, and so he falls asleep. Both Krishnananda and Narayani were just lost. If the child is possessed, ghost, how they feel, right? The parents. So Narayani started to cry, But what to do? But the next day, Narottama is not thrashing so much, but he's crying continuously. But these tears are tears of ecstasy. He doesn't even know it, actually. It's uncontrollable. The tears are just coming, pouring, and then he's just crying. And then he's thinking, what is happening, And then his father told him, the exorcist tried to cure you, but then Narottama just laughed. He says, do you think you can cure me by killing an animal to make medicine? Means killing a jackal to get that oil. Please do not commit this sinful act out of blind affection for me. Oh Pita, can't you understand? I'm not haunted by a ghost and I have no disease. I'm feeling intense love for the Supreme Lord. This is what makes me cry. So he's able to experience and understand what's going through him. So at that moment, both the parents look at each other and, what is happening to our child? Yeah. They are pious people, but they don't know anything about love of Godhead. That's what it's described, yeah. Then his father, who's more intelligent, said, I think our son is telling the truth. And that is accounting for why he can't think of anything else, nothing material except spiritual, except Mahaprabhu. Then Narayani is saying, but he's just a child. Why would he think of Mahaprabhu like this? So what are we going to do? You can see, even though they are pious, they don't want their child to be a devotee. Huh? Interesting. This has happened almost 500 years ago. So now to compare, parents nowadays won't even want their child to be showing any ecstatic symptoms, If at all they want ecstatic symptoms, if they go to MIT or Stanford, right? Like that. So then Krishnananda is thinking, the astrologers were right because they said never go near a river, your son will change, So he's thinking, I made a mistake, I didn't take care properly, he somehow or other got into the river. Because they had said rivers are dangerous for your boy. They probably didn't read the stars properly. It's not dangerous, very good for your boy. Like that. So anyway, this ecstasy goes on and it makes him really, really a difficult person at home. And he thinks more and more about wanting to become a sadhu. And the parents are thinking more and more how to keep him at home. It's very interesting, right? The more a person wants to become transcendental, the more the pangs of love and affection of the parents wanting him to become more materialistic. So therefore, Krishnananda, realizing his son wants to go leave the home, told the guards, 24 hours. Take care of my son. God, he cannot leave the house. Not for a minute like that. So he was thinking, I hate to do this to my own son, but what to do, What can be done? Our son has suddenly gone crazy about this devotional ecstasy. Unless we understand clearly what Krishna consciousness is, what God consciousness is, what love of God means, most of us can also react in the same way to our own child, right? If Morgan were to act crazy, right, Rishabh would say that's normal, But if he was in ecstasy in Godhead, right, what would you think, Everyone will think we want to bring them back to normal. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. Yeah. the modern day is like that. Huh? Balance everything. And in some ways you need to balance, because the average person nowadays need balance. Most people are unbalanced anyway. So we need to balance them. There was a devotee one time, I remember when I was traveling with my spiritual master. So my spiritual master pointed to that devotee and said, "This person is crazy." Then I was like, "What?" And then he said, "The only reason he's normal is because he's chanting his rounds. The day he stops chanting, he'll go crazy." And so the holy name is so powerful, right? It grounds us. So it's good to chant your rounds nicely. So anyway, with the escape, we'll stop the reading of the pastime. So one night, Narottama lay on his bed thinking, how much longer can I go on secretly worshipping the Lord in my room at night? When will Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu give me his mercy? When will I be able to live with his devotees in Vrindavan? And then he would sleep like that. Then in his dream, he saw the gorgeous golden form of Mahaprabhu. Narottama stared in astonishment at his exquisite moon-like face. Beautiful curling black hair adorned his shoulders, vividly colorful garlands draped around his neck, and his petaled soft hands rested gracefully near his knees. When Narottama's eyes met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, infinitely deep, loving gaze, he thought his heart would explode. Overcome with emotion, he fell at the Lord's feet. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gently placed his foot on Narottama's head and said, "Don't worry about anything. I have many plans for you to carry out. Go straight to Vrindavan. There you will be initiated by my dear devotee Lokanath. He will pour the nectar of the holy name into your ears." And then the Lord disappeared. Of course, he eventually escapes. Srila Prabhupada says Narottama Das is an amazing acharya, because the songs that we sing is written in simple language, not in complicated way, very simple. And he says the entire Vedas, the essence of Vedas is in the songs of Narottama Das Thakur. So I will stop here. Srila Narottama Das Thakur Ki Jai. So if you do wish to read more, just get the book. It's called The Glorious Life of Srila Narottama Das Thakur. If you want to say something, add something. You want to give him the mic?
About how he wrote his songs. And this is something that's always a curiosity to me, because I grew up around musicians in the music business and etc. When it says that he writes these songs in simple Bengali, is it like he's writing in common types of music and etc.?
The way I understood, his music was also very special. He brings about new amazing meters as well. So I wouldn't say there was much about the simplicity of the music, but more the language itself. Yeah, it was easy for the commoners to understand, take up the process. Yeah, so that's the way he did. The tunes were also very simple. Yeah, but it was always had a wonderful meters he composed like that. Yeah. And of course, the three of them, Narottama Das and Srinivas Acharya and Shamananda Pandit, no? Yeah. So, and they are the ones who actually start the first Mayapur celebration in Mayapur with the Janava Mata. At that time, they installed 6 deities of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. Yeah.
They each went back to their region. Reached
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Narottama in East Bengal, Shyamananda.
Right. Yeah. But, it's long pastimes. So today is his appearance day. So for devotees, you can pray to Narottama Das Thakur today and ask him for feeling when we chant the holy name. Let us feel, has some feelings when we chant at least, and not mechanically chant. Ask him for that blessings. And surely, like yesterday, Lord Nityananda, who was so merciful, not that you only have to ask on their appearance day, you can ask them every day, right? Anything else anyone want to add? The author of this book is Mother Sitala Dasi. Yes. The Glorious Life of Srila Narottama Das Thakur. It's also known as Narottama Vilas.
That's one book. There's several other books.
Yeah. But she combined all of them.
Most of it follows the Narottama Vilas. It's like, 12 chapters or something. Narottama Vilas, it's like 10, 12 chapters.
So I think she took from
each one's a different phase or part of his life.
She took from Narottama Vilas, then she took also from Narahari Sarka description also. Yeah.
And he made a lot of effect. Many things are written about him.
So yeah, I think you can check Krishna Culture or our books, gift store or online. Yeah. It's a nice book, yeah.
Generally online, the whole Narottama Vilas is there. It should be from a calendar that has this day. It should be there at the bottom. You go and it'll bring up the whole Narottama Vilas. I read it last year or 2 years ago.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Srila Narottama Das Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanandi.
His Grace Radha Krishna Das Brahmachari ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Today's breakfast was cooked by Mother Kamini Priya Devidasi and Mother Bhavamai Devidasi came to help. Haribo. Please honor, respect, and relish the mercy. Hari Haribo.
Start finding people that do that.